Don't get me excited. We're going to talk about training today. I'm going to talk to you about one record, yeah? I got put onto by my own merit. Yes, nobody told me to listen to this. I'll have you know I chose to listen to this for myself, alright? So don't go taking no credit, people. This was my decision. On the reaction channel, King of the Pit TV, I put a record on, yeah? I thought it was about time. And it was good. And it had replay value, yes? And this record has been metaphorically spun so many times now. Whilst I've been training, whilst I've been in the gym. It is a incredible meathead record. It's a record, if you're into metal, you might be aware of, and arguably, if you didn't know about this record, arguably, if you've never heard the record, some may call you a poser. Maybe I was a poser before listening to this record, because it's, in some worlds, quite important, I would assume. Great sound, albeit not perfect production. But for a record of such, does it need perfect production? Probably. Probably could be better. But the ideas, the energy, the riffs, the realism that is infused within the music, the bops and the hip-hop influence is energizing. They're frequent in the music. Some songs hit harder than others, yeah, no doubt. It's one of them records. It's not consistent all the way through, so I'm not going to give them points for that. But what album am I talking about? What album am I talking about? It was released sometimes in the 90s. I don't know when. It seems all of these albums I'm talking about were put out in the 90s at this point. When I was younger, yeah, I remember when I first started getting into music, the 90s was cringe. In the 2000s, the 90s was cringe. Right? 90s was soft, just purely associated with grunge. It was bad, right? Now, we're so many decades ahead, we look back in hindsight and acknowledge how good them times were. So this is the album I'm talking about, people, without further ado. This one goes out to the hardcore heads. This one goes out to the metal heads. Urban Discipline, Biohazard. Do you know what I kind of think about this? The logo, the Biohazard logo, that's like in the gay community for people to put out that they are HIV positive. Is it the same Biohazard symbol? Because if so, that's quite funny. With the Biohazard fans showing their dedication by getting this HIV positive logo tattooed on them. Do some research on that, yeah? I think I'm right in what I say. This album is incredible, right? This is one of my favourite albums to train to. It stood the test of time. To this day, sometimes a tune or two will pop up on my, like, For You playlist. 'Cause sometimes I'll, generally I just allow Spotify to do its thing. I don't really consciously go through music as much as I used to. I'm just stuck in my ways and get stuck in the playlist echo chamber Spotify force feeds to me. And every once in a while you'll get a tune from this record come up. Bruh. Punishment, right? Of course it's like the Biohazard song. But that riff that kicks in, busting my ass another day, another dollar, that to me right now, to this day, after hearing that so many times, is like one of the hardest hitting, best riffs, best grooves I've ever heard on record. Is it basic? Yeah, bro, it's Punishment by Biohazard, bro, that's gateway stuff. I don't care. No doubt it's gateway material because it's incredible, it's fantastic. The tough guy edge this record has is great to align you with the frequency of what is necessary to perform at a good standard. And yeah, I am equating it with the gym body, but I'm going to try and give a general overview of my experience with this record and how in great appraisal. But I made a note on my phone to talk on this in relation to the fact that it's a great record to train to. And I'm going to do a couple other talks on this because there's a couple other bands in particular I just align with to such a great degree when it comes to, lifting heavy, maybe going for a run every, you know, blue moon, to say the least. And this record really tickles my pickle in the right way. Let me have a look at the playlist, and I'll tell you in particular what tunes I think are special. Like I said, there's a technicality to this act, not through virtuoso performance upon the instrumentation, but through the unique value and the external influences that make an incredible impact on the rhythms and the riffs you're getting. There is a great hip-hop influence. There is a great New York style to this that seems to be in its own lane, in its own league. So, let me get Urban Discipline up. And whilst I'm getting it up, let me tell you, I listened to the second record afterwards. It didn't get put up on YouTube purely as it got corrupt, the file got corrupt. But it was nowhere near as good. It was nowhere near as good. I was expecting them to progress, because there's plenty of room for progression from this record, especially just within the realms of the studio engineering. But it kind of didn't hit me. It didn't hit me. So, Chamber Spins 3, great. And whilst I'm looking at these names, it's bringing me back the selling points. The gang chants are fantastic. The sing-along moments, absolutely incredible. Punishment, track number 2, fantastic. Shades of Grey, fantastic. Business is a banger. For those who are relatively anti-authoritative, if you need a little bit of fuel for the fire whilst you're doing your training, whilst you're grafting, whilst you're grinding, and you think, I want to be independent, I want to be myself, I want to do my thing, I don't want to sign no contracts, don't want to have no suits to hold me, and so on and so forth. It's great to hear this lyrical content. Although I don't know to what degree the politicking was, because this was put out on a major label, right? So, each their own. Black and White and Red All Over, great gang chant. Man with a Promise, another one for you to stick it to the man. It's energizing. It's underdog music. It's me against the world music. This band to me aligns with the like of Hatebreed on its energy. Of course, Hatebreed ended up being a little more polished, but hey, to the same degree. With that being said, from there on, Wrong Side of the Tracks, good tune. I'm not too fussed from the record from there on, but it doesn't matter, because it sells you within the content of the first so many tracks. I'd see Biohazard live. I know there's a couple of variations of this act going around. Like, I don't know if I really want to see Billy Bio. I assume he's just playing with a backing act. Session act per se. When it comes to it, I want to see Biohazard with the full lineup, and I want to see him in a setting which is appropriate for my tastes. But I don't really get out and watch music, but at this point, I would go catch Biohazard. I think they're really cool, and I think this is a great record. What more needs to be said? I'm gonna do another video in regards to gym music, because I got a couple, to be honest, a couple of great metal bands in particular. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.